Well, hi guys, I'm Ed. This is backroadhero. This is the story about how I won my first tin cup. I recorded another intro yesterday before we headed out to the track, but I think this one's a bit more appropriate. Third in Class C, Roadsports 750 Motor Club. This is the next morning. Pardon the change in the weather, but this is how I did it. We are race 5 at the moment. I've got a racing channel as well, E46 Racer, or at E46 Racer and all the social media. So totally unexpected. I'm going to go through a little bit about the setup of the car. I'll talk about the day. I tried a vlog style video, but just the way it all progressed yesterday was all a bit fast paced on the day. Practice was 9:30. I got to the track at about 8:30. Checked over the car, got the cameras installed, and off out to practice stroke qualifying. And surprisingly, a 109.5. The best I did back a few weeks ago on a test day was 109.4. So I'm really happy that the car kind of performed as I expected. I got one clear lap out of 25 minutes, and I put in a decent pace. That all meant we were going to start on row 9 of the grid out of 17. We would start 21st out of 42 cars, but more importantly, we would start in 3rd in Class C for 180 brake per tonne. The car produces 236 or thereabouts horsepower, and it weighs in at 1340-ish kilos, depending on fuel load at the time. The minimum weight for that class would have been 1315 for that power, so we were nicely in. However, having qualified in 3rd place, the car hadn't been officially dynoed, and we were whisked away to get the power verified, and then round to the weigh station to verify that the car was actually overweight. So this is the story of how we did it. Going to put in some clips of my driving. Yeah, there was one moment lost me a place, but we'll come to that a little bit later on. So thanks for following my journey on this one. This kind of race review video will be going out on E46 Racer as well as the backroadhero channel. So thanks to everyone. If you want to catch up, we're in Croft towards the end of May, and that'll be another outing. That's a brand new circuit for us. So who knows what we'll end up doing. We've got a test day, or a practice day, or a track day run by the club. It's more like a test day, passing on both sides and all the rest of it. But anyway, that is in the future, so if you want to catch up with all of that, follow my racing journey, like and subscribe on both channels, and that would be greatly appreciated. So let's have a little look to see what it takes to put a race car together. This is a 2002 BMW E46 330 Ci Coupe. 231 horsepower as standard. I've got a couple of ECUs, one's 236 and the other one is 247. First thing you'll need to do to convert a car into a race car is some bonnet latches. So the marshals need to be able to get at the car, at the engine, just in case. Strut brace induction kit. We've got an oil cooler modification down here because the oil obviously runs fairly hot. Let me see other things that we've got. Plumbed in fire extinguisher system. There's the plumbing for it there. They've got 4 nozzles in the engine compartment and another 4 in the cabin pointing towards the driver. In this case, we've got a cut off for the electrics and for the external fire extinguisher activation. So that's pretty much in here. Front splitter, running standard alloys, 17-inch here, and they're the same tires all around, 235s. I think it's 4017s, Nankang AR1s, which are road legal, but they are semi-slicks, and they're very grippy. So we'll close that. Obviously stickers aren't for fun, they're for advertising, various series that I've raced in, and there's the website, bit of free advertising for me along the way, along with AE Racing. So Mike Jacobs over there has helped me out with various bits and pieces. We've got a lightened flywheel and a clutch, a racing clutch. It's pretty much stripped out. The second seat is in here because I need it for the weight. Here is the internal cut-offs then for the electrics. And for the fire extinguisher system, various circuit breakers. We've got a race transponder in there, we've got our pit to crew radio, and we've got a removable steering wheel and a timer for that. For timing the race and for the pit stops. Still a road car, so it's still got a key and a mobiliser, etc, etc. When you take the carpets out on this thing, it leaves a big dip, so there's a nice little racing floor. Nice for heel and towing. The main safety aspect, of course, is the roll cage, bucket seats and full harnesses. Plenty of room in the back, especially for spare tyres, and especially if you've removed the rear bulkhead already. So here we've got the fire extinguisher system in there. Pull the handle that says E and all hell breaks loose in here. Little blue nozzles, one here, I've got one here. We've got another one down there at the feet and another one down there. Obviously the little foot pedal arrangement, some extra gauges in here for oil temperature and oil pressure. The car has done 105,000 miles so far. Race transponder down in there that does the timing as we cross the laps. I've got the second seat in already because I needed it for weight. So just turn the electrics off, that's all you do. But it's still got a key and an immobiliser anyway, because it is technically a road car. It was MOT'd. 4-litre fire extinguisher system. Some internal brake line. Got a twin pump arrangement to fuel starvation. And obviously loads of room in the back there for some spare tyres. The bulkhead's been removed, but the cage is in. Here we've got obviously the 17-inch rims, big old spoiler. I've got it set at its minimum setting because I don't really need all the downforce, and being a fairly, I say, moderately powered car, it doesn't need all of that. It zaps the top speed. So there's Class C in 2 different series. There's the novice sticker. 6 races you need before you can pull that off. And a 3-inch pipe. That can be silenced down or it can be a full bore. So it's 90 something decibels, I think, in quiet mode, and obviously pushing the limits when it's a full 3-inch pipe. Fully lagged front to rear. Ride height is down ride height is down to a minimum of 50mm clearance at the lowest point. That's a drive-by test that they may do at scrutineering. And it's got coilover suspension all around, front and back, and the rear internal springs have been removed in favour of a coilover arrangement. That's from Gas Shocks, Gas Gold. Small sponsorship from Demon Tweaks, 10% if you register with them, and that's available to pretty much any other racer. Some cheap M3 knockoff mirrors, because literally they get damaged really easy, and they're about 30 quid, and they save some sort of weight. So there you go, a very quick run around the car. I'm having fun. It's not just a matter of you know, sticking a cage in it and an extinguisher and a seat and a harness and going racing. To be fairly competitive, you need to have a few other bits and pieces, oil cooler for the longevity of the engine, and all the rest of it. So it's still got the lights, it's still got xenons. I could make it a lot lighter. It's still full metal in this car, but for the class that I'm racing it in, I'm really pushing the class limits with the horsepower. BMW CCR, the Car Club Racing, and as well the 750 Motor Club Roadsports, which is mini endurance racing. Having fun. There you go, from one BMW to the other. Look at that, isn't that a sight? The old 7. So there you go, very quick run around. I hope you've enjoyed the video. It gives you some sort of insight of what the car is all about. Let's get straight into qualifying. We'll see what my fastest lap is, try and get some data onto the screen as well, because we log all of that. It all takes a bit of processing. So thanks very much. here we are, Silverstone. First outing of the Roadsports season. These are all run as series, not championships. So each round, there's about 10 in Class C, about 42 or thereabouts in total. So it's going to be a busy grid. New clutch in for this year. Not that the old one had much mileage on it, but it was toast after Snetterton last year. So thanks to Mike Jacob at AE Racing for helping me out with that one. First of 6 rounds this year. Croft is next up the country. Now, luckily I've got a trailer to tow the car all that distance. So this is very much improving. All the fast guys aren't here actually. There's no Club Enduro tomorrow. So we don't have those guys doing the old practice and warm-ups for that. So I'm kind of hoping we'll get a bit of a race on maybe. If I get close to the 109.4 that I did during the test day. Modify the tire temperatures very slightly, starting on 24 psi all round, and I've got the freshest set of rubber on. Looking forward to this one. Hope you can hear the microphone. I've got the shift light set to 6,500, so I'm going to try and preserve the car a little bit. Brakes are still the same pads as last year. They're a little thinner than I would have liked, but I want to get one more race out of them. We shall see what happens with the pedal feel as we progress. It might be a mad dash into replacing pads and bleeding the brakes, etc. Don't really want to do that. Well, here we are. Practice and qualifying is over. Finished second in class, so that's it. As a result of that, we've been called to dyno. So just in the queue here, waiting to get tested. So they'll test the power output of the car, and they will also go and weigh it just to make sure I'm still in Class C. I think we should be all right, but you know what? You never exactly know on scales, etc., until they actually go for it. So I've got a nod on the dyno that we're under on par. They won't tell you exactly what it's all about. I declared 236.7. He gave me the nod on that, which makes the car's minimum weight 1315, 15 kilos. Went over to the weigh-in area, and she's weighing 1342 with 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So I'm going to have to do a bit of mathematics, figure out whether we can finish the race without the ballast or not. Of course, I've got 10 kilos in there as a bit of a buffer that I took out last night, so we're a bit tighter than we would have been. However, I know I can't run the car any less than 1/4 of a tank really around this track without getting some sort of starvation issues. So that's it. Hope you can hear me on the phone. We'll get fueled and get it to the grid. All the cameras are running. 30 seconds. Let's go. Let's go. So here we are. It's race time. The Roadsports series has a rolling start, which means we start initially under the safety car. You can't see him; he's way ahead there. But I'm looking at the likes of I think Joel there in the Clio, the red Clio ahead. He is second in class, and then there's a Lotus. You probably not see too much of him. He's way up. So here we go, final corner. I'm waiting for Emma on the radio to give me a go, because quite often you can't see the lights because the lead cars are way up there. We're about mid-pack here. The whole idea of the start is to keep your nose clean. I backed off here a little bit. So lost momentum. You really want to start pretty much under full throttle, just easing it over to the right hand side. A lot of the cars here, either the Class B and Class A, of course we're racing Class C with a lower brake horsepower per tonne. I think Class B is about 240 brake per tonne, Class A is over 300 per tonne, and we're 180, so you know what. This is often the pile up just into here. So the whole idea is to get it to just settle down. Catch a breather after the start, let the adrenaline levels settle down. Not let too many people through. However, we're racing our own race. Really important to know who else is in Class C. And letting the Class B and Class A guys through, of course. I will have qualified a little bit ahead of these. Everyone has their own issues during qualifications, but I've got my eye set firmly on Joel here in the front. What I'm going to do is fast forward several times faster in the various segments where it's a procession. As Mrs. Ed reminds me, it's rather boring just watching little cars go round in circles, broom, 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 and all that. So here we go. We'll speed it up for the procession and we'll slow it down. So I'm trying to get a 45-minute race, 25 minutes qualifications, and a bit of a chat all into about half an hour. So that is the plan, to keep it down to that kind of level. This little Z3 is a Class B car, but you can see even with that, you know, reasonably well driven here. I can keep pace with a few of those guys. So having a Class C car makes it a little bit different. You've got a beady eye in the rear view mirror, as well as trying to keep the race on and keep other Class C cars from overtaking. But being reasonably courteous with the guys behind the faster cars. Would hope at this point, with kind of 4 laps in, we're now starting to settle down. The pit window opens at 15 minutes and it closes at 30, and we've got 2. So there's that Ginetta, more of that later on. He sails through. I can't quite believe that he's a Class C car at this point in time. It's phenomenally quick. Just look at the way it accelerates way on down the straight here. And he's gone. I can't catch him at all. And even Joel there in Clio, he's struggling, but it's quite obvious that we're doing our best. So can sometimes be a little bit of a procession. Sometimes you can use the slower cars. There's a Class D car that might actually be Ivan Mayer's. I'm not quite sure. He's changed to a 325 Ti this year from a Mark II MX-5. So he's a Club Enduro guy. And again, just trying to keep it all together. Oh dear. There is another 330. I've been trying to hold him off for the last few laps. That's a fresh build, a really nice car. I chat with the owner of that, and he's doing really well. So he's happy with that. More of that to come. I'm going to try and keep the guys in our sights. And there's the Civic Type R. He's been filling my rear view mirror for a long time. So now we have 4 Class C cars all together. We're now kind of 8 laps in. We're only 5 minutes away from the pit window opening. So, and that's it. So the Clio, he'll be in second at the moment. The Ginetta, of course, is way up there in first. So you're looking at second, third, currently in fourth myself, with the Type R in fifth. And there he is, sneaking through. He's got an extra gear ratio. He's got 6 gears in that Civic, and they always seem to find the right gear. Managed to carry the speed through, and of course, where the 330 excels is on the brakes. I've still got ABS. I've got these DS111 Ferodo pads in there, and I just stand on them when necessary, let the ABS do the stuff. This is crazy Z3 again. He went off a few times. Yeah, hey, it is what it is. So again, he's a bit lighter than me. He's on the right-hand side, and I managed to outbrake him into T1. Again, little bit of possession. Here's a bit of high-speed action, just to keep the boredom levels down. So I reckon I'm running in fourth at this point.
Yeah, so am I.
I'm looking for a nice clean pit stop. Need to know when the window's open. Of course, it's on a board, but we have the in-car radio, and it's always nice to hear
We got towards 15 minutes.
from them as to where we're going. Is the garage clear? I'm trying to plan that. Ideally, we'd like to pit towards the tail end of that 15-minute window. Of course, if a safety car comes out, then we'll kind of all dive in there and make the most of that opportunity, because 1 minute stopped under the pace car. For everyone else, they're travelling that little bit less of a distance than you would be under full race pace. So again, bypassing the boring stuff, letting the Class B and Class A cars through. There's that Ben in the Lotus S1. He ended up actually winning Class C. So well done from him. That's a fresh build. And of course, here we are dicing. There's a Class D car on the left, Class A car on the right, the eventual winner. Passing through again, probably for the second time at this stage. The pace of these cars, especially those M3s, running at sort of 340, 350 brake, you just can't touch them.
Okay, is the pits open yet? Do you know?
So this is where it's starting to confuse me just that little bit. We initially agreed that I would stop at the very end of the pits. And now I'm getting through the radio that for some reason I've got a pit outside our own garage at 1C, 1 Charlie. It's not ideal because everyone bunches up in the same area around the pits. We're not going to do anything to the car, so I just wanted to stop towards the end. All I needed to know is that it was free and all the rest of it, but some sort of confusion. I spoke to the marshallers and they said, no, we've got to stop outside the garage. It's actually not the case. But to avoid any argument, that's what I've decided to do.
In next time.
So the 330 head doesn't know where the line is. It's really, really frustrating. There it is, down to 60 kilometers an hour, or about 37 miles per hour into the pit lane. We've got to come to a stop for 60 seconds. And all I'm going to do is stay inside the white line, get a drink of water,
Stand in the front and give me a thumbs up.
and then get
Stand in the front and give me a
a thumbs up for leaving.
20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So grab your cup of joe and let's go. There's the line, off we go again. Straight in, watching the traffic out the left hand side. Of course, got to stay inside that solid white line when exiting the pits. But there it is, now I can get onto the racing line and straight in and out. Quite often the brakes fade because the brake lines, they heat up with the 60-second stop. Got to be very, very cautious of the brakes until the line's cool. So I've got some actually additional foil over there. And there he is, there's Matt Mandapira They were doing a relay, Joel and Matt, similar looking cars. Matt's got slightly more stickers on his, and that's who I'm chasing now. Really pissed off to see him go by. Unfortunately, he retired towards the end of the race. Rather unfortunate, kind of the last lap or thereabouts. After the pit stop, it is virtually impossible to know where you stand, except for information out of the pits. It can be a bit of a procession, but you just got to keep going, racing your own race, and look what happens when there's a Type R up your ass. And there he goes, along with that little MX-5. Luckily I kept the engine running. Got it into first and got going. What a disappointment. I think I just got distracted passing the MX-5, the slower car, lapping him. Being offline didn't help either. And there I go, overtaking him again. That was the class winner for Class D. So, more slower cars. Obviously a novice with a cross there, slightly offline. So not a huge amount of action anymore towards the end of the race. Cutting through again. And that is a Class A. Really difficult to know. He's got the novice cross on there, so you know what, well done to him for getting through there and doing really well. But it looks just like that Class C 330 Ci. Really difficult to know, but quite obviously he's got the pace going. And here we go. So that's the 330 that was in front of me previously. I've managed just to nip by. Retaking a place, and that was a bit of a sigh of relief, but never did manage to get by the Type R. So here we go, getting towards the end of the race. There's the leaders, there's the checkered flag. So they took me on the last corner, which means I finished kind of early, as it were, because as soon as that occurs, they'll look at the previous lap and they'll assign. So the plot thickens then. I reckoned we'd finished fourth overall, so first loser, as they say. We're just at the awards ceremony, and there's a rumour floating around that the Ginetta was well over par for Class C. So that means things may well be bumped up one place, and it could be my first ever podium. So we'll have to wait and see. Well, can you spot the silverware then? There it is, due to an adjustment of rules. What I suspected obviously was true. We finished third. What a result. So it just happens that way sometimes. An adjustment. I believe the Ginetta that finished first was well over his horsepower for Class C. Some rumour had it was over 100 brake per tonne out. Any wonder he was so quick. But anyway, it doesn't matter. A result is a result. First podium for the E46 racer, and hopefully many more.